we will be going through some basic understanding, some basic stuff, and then some intermediate level and advanced stuff, because I know that some of the guys are doing R&D on the WordPress API, so this presentation is interested for them as well. Okay, so I'm Asad Khan. I am associate team lead at Datum, and I've been working in Datum Square since 2011, and I've been working in WordPress since 2009. So okay, so let's go through the WordPress Rest API. So basically, it is the same as the other REST APIs. Its specific functionalities. It is like very powerful thing, and it is most of the thing that you would expect an API to do. It's a JSON-based API, and it's definitely publicly available for everyone unless we disable it, but it's not recommended. But it has also authenticated part as well. For example, if you want to post or put something, or if you want to go to an area that requires registration or login, like the admin area, so it has authentication feature as well. Okay, so how to use the WordPress API? So you guys know that in modern world, this concept of headless CMS is emerging quite loudly, because for like we are not restricted to the laptop or to the desktop computers. Now it's time that we have already moved to the smartphones and smartwatches. So for that, we need more of the headless CMS. We don't need the extra stuff. We need the main content of the CMS, which is the body part. So we don't need that any stuff in the header like the styles or JavaScripts or any DOM structure. Okay, so and other major use is that you guys know that WordPress is now moved to the Block Editor. That's the Gutenberg. So that editor and a lot of visual editors like Elementor, if you have worked on that visual editor, those editor uses WordPress API to work. So if and that is because those editor on the back end mostly work on the JS frameworks. Like these are the days of JS frameworks. We have so many like React, like Angular. Yeah, so if you have worked on the Gutenberg, so it is a React-based editor. So if like you are using any JS framework and you want to use the database part of the WordPress, you need that API to work. So that's why now if you're working in the WordPress, so learning this API is more important now. Okay, you can definitely do remote blogging. Previously, we were able to do this by using XML RPC, but now that had some issue, though it's still there, but there were a lot of hacking using that technique. So now we have fully moved to the WordPress API. Okay, so how would we use the WordPress API? I'm actually going through the documentation quite quickly. It's a short slide, so then we will go to the practical part as well very quickly. So basically, this is the base of the API. So like your URL of the website and then /wp-json. So if you like type this thing, it will fetch everything that is API related. So if I can go here, and this is my localhost website. So if I can just type wp-json, it will fetch all the stuff that is API related. So if I go to the namespaces, it will show me the namespaces of the available namespaces. We will create our own namespace later in the video as well in the lecture. And then we have our routes here. So there are a lot of routes available. So for example, I want to see all the posts here. So for that, my namespace is wp/v2. We are now on version 2 of API. Previously, it was version 1. So if I just go and type post, it will fetch all the posts for me. Okay, so let's go ahead. So this is, I type just this section. And if you want to fetch a particular post, you can just type the ID with the slash. So it will only fetch the one post with that particular ID. Okay, so if I want to go to the like routes and namespace endpoints, so there are a lot of available, and I will share a link with you guys as well. If WordPress is very rich documentation, it's very helpful and very healthy as well. So if you can go there, you will find all the endpoints there. So you can access the posts, the revision, the categories, tags, pages, etc. Everything that is content related in WordPress, you can access it through this API. And these are the routes of the APIs. When we go to the practical part, we will know more about it. but it is present there. I will share the link. It's quite simple. You can just type the REST API of WordPress and you will go to the links, and it has everything you will need to interact with this API. So let's see the power. What's the power of the API? So these are only few things that we can do. Like uh, we can read, we can create, we can update the posts, the pages, the categories, the tags. We can develop, activate, and deactivate themes and plugins. We can access and delete and modify media. Also, we can access and modify user. We can assign user different capabilities. We can delete capabilities. We can add and delete users. So it is almost anything that you would be doing in the admin panel of the WordPress, you can do it through this API. Okay, so for the if you have custom post type and you want the REST API to be enabled for that, you just need to pass that argument. You have to show in REST and you have to make this true in the argument. If this is not true, you will not be able to access it. So, for example, I have like let's see if we have some post type. So yeah, so I have a custom post type that is Park Sports, Park underscore sport. That is the custom post type. So if we want to reach this post type, we just have to type in here. Park underscore sports. So you see, I get the data and see what's this. So I have two entries in that, and there's two entry as well. We have zero entry, and then we have one entry, just two entries. So if I show you the code, the custom post type I have just created in my function.php file, and the show and rest is true for this. So if I make it false, I can refresh the page, and you will see that that rest has no route, so it's no more available. So that's the argument, and I have included this in the topic because if you are using the Elementor or Visual Editor, and if you want to include your custom post type in like in block or something to add to that page builder, so most of the time if that is not the show and rest parameter is not true, you will not access it, and that's the common problem. I have seen that a lot of people are asking question about that they cannot see their custom post type in Elementor or in Visual Editor. So if you can just go and set that parameter to true, you will be able to access it. Okay, so we can add the custom endpoints. Like we have so many endpoints. We previously discussed these are the built-in endpoint. These come with the WP slash v2. This is actually the namespace, and then up that thing, the post, the categories, the tags, the other endpoints. So you can use your own and namespaces and endpoints. It's just you have to, like, if you want to do anything with the API, this is the hook, rest underscore API underscore init. This is the main hook, so you can hook any function to it. You can register your routes, you can register your endpoints, and you can remove the endpoints, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's go straight to the business. And now we have seen this, like, so if I go to the posts again, you see a lot of things here. Each and everything is present that are present in the post, and including your metadata, your like embed things like categories, your parents of the post, everything is present here. So if you are calling like your API from anywhere and you don't need all the field here, like this is just one post with this ID, and there are a lot of things. If you want just like the title and the content and you don't like any other stuff, so you just have to pass a parameter that is field, and it's underscore field actually. So you can just pass it to title, and I think I've done it. Title and comma content, the two things. Whenever you want, whatever you want, you just type in here, and now you can see there's only title and content, and there's then another post, title and content. You don't get any other stuff like the excerpt, like the metadata, like the media or other information. Okay, so that's one thing. So if like these are my posts here, okay, so let's see what how many pages I have. So I have 3 pages, and if I want to read the pages of the API, you just type in pages here, and it will return all the pages to me. So I had 3 pages. Let's see, and you can see there are only 3 pages, and some parameter can go here as well. Like if you want some particular field, you can just type in here. Similarly, everything you can add, like which is available. You can access your user. So currently I have only one user. If I had more and I wanted to search just one user, I would pass an ID here, like ID1. So that's the thing. Okay, let's go for some headphone stuff. So until now, if you have any question, you can just unmute and talk to me, and then I will go to the next step. Okay, I am assume everything is right. So let's go and then do some authorization and advanced stuff. And this is localhost, so let's try with the live stuff as well. So I have a live system as well. This is live website, and if I want something for here as well, so let's use the post. So WP JSON, and then WP is our route. It's the version 2 of the API, and then if you can go to the post. Okay, so something to. Is the GET request? The GET request doesn't need any authorization, but let's add it anywhere. Let's try this in the browser. Okay, so it works. Okay, let's add some authorization anyway. So if we want to add a post request, we want to add a new post to our API. We will later do this with the help of React.js as well, but just to give you an example. So the route will be same. If you want to access the post or if you want to add the post, that route is the same for both of them. It's the same route here. But the method should be post, but we need authorization as well. And for the authorization, you need some plugins. So for the Postman, we will use some basic authorization, and for the React part, we will use the JSON Web Token. So if you have like, let's see what plugin that is we have here. Okay, so we have the basic auth plugin. Let's do this one. Should we? Actually, we don't need this plugin. Okay, so we have a plugin that WordPress Rest API authorization that is for the basic auth. You can see it also uses JWT token, but we are using here on the Postman for this basic authorization. So for the basic authorization, we need few things like if you go to the authorization part, we need the basic authorization. So for the basic auth, we need the username and password, which is 1 and also with that we need to pass some authorization with the header as well. So go to authorization, and for this plugin, like if you go to the plugin documentation, you will see that requirement is that you pass the basic space the username and password value. So in base64 format. So if I can go to the base64 format here, I'll show you how we'll. So my username is admin and my password is admin123. So we need this thing in base64 for this particular plugin if you want to authorize with this plugin. Search and let's add something. So the form data, we are using the title, and the title will be post from, sorry, post from Postman. And then we have another value for the content of the page. So we will have it to simple test post content. So let's see if we have authorized it correctly. We'll send the request. And let's see if the post has been created. So you see that post from the Postman that has been created here, but you see the status is dropped. So we can send another parameter, that is the status. So now if we want, like we know the ID is 36, so if we want to update this post, we can just get its ID 36 and we can pass another parameter, that is status, and the status is publish. So let's send this one and let's see if it has been published. Okay, so that works. So the same thing, you can delete the post from a Postman or from any platform. So let's go straight to the React example now. So I had some React code for that, and it's a pre-made code. So let's discuss about the code. So first of all, it's not a React tutorial, so I'm going to the WordPress stuff, the API stuff more. And if you need any help with the React tutorial or the React part, you can ask me. But it's I'm not explaining the React part. I'm explaining only the API related part. So we will be fetching our post with the use effect hook. That's a React hook, and normally we use it for fetching tip because fetching thing. So and this is a promise. You if you have worked in any JS framework, this is the modern way to call the promise. So Axios is a React library. We can do it without Axios, but it's easy to use the Axios library for React. So basically, this is the same URL that I tried to browse in my browser. That's the same URL. And what it will do that it will fetch the data from this API, and then here I am showing it. I am mapping it here, and I am showing the two things for it. This is the bootstrap stuff, so forget about that. This is our main thing. So this is the one thing. I am fetching the title from that post, and I am fetching the content from that post. So if you want me to explain that whole code using React, you can just unmute and tell me, and I will explain that. But if you guys are comfortable with any other JS framework or with React, then I will carry on. So the output for this is, you can see, this is the output of. So I have 10 posts, and all the 10 are here. Let's see if these are the 10 posts. These are the 10 posts, and for the 10 posts, I have that many categories. So I have 5 entries in cricket and 2 entries in hockey. So if I just want to fetch from a particular category, like I want to fetch from the hockey, so the hockey ID is 3, and let's see. Okay, I can go to React bot, and there in post I can so another parameter that is categories. And if I want to category 3, you see there are only 2 entries now, because it is fetching now only for the category 3. Similarly, these are the posts. If I want to fetch pages, now it has fetched me the pages. So it's only we are using the same namespace, but we are changing the endpoints or the end routers. Okay, so now let's move to the more interesting part, that is to, okay, you would have seen a form that is to add new posts here from the API, and that's the beauty of the API, of any API, that you can do some code operation. Okay, so for that, so this by basic, the form part, it's like any other React form. We have a title, and then we have a text area. So what does it do? That on the onSubmit, it's called a function that is onSubmit. So in the onSubmit, the first part is that you have to authenticate. And for the authenticate, we use JSON Web Token. If you are like using any JS framework and you want to use the WordPress API, so the basic authentication may not work, or it is not recommended. You'll have to go to the like for the JWT, for JSON Web Token. So there are a lot of plugins available for JSON Web Token, and all of them have same code inside them. So whatever plugin you want to install for JWT, you can install it. So I have like JWT authentication for WP API. If you use any other plugin, the documentation are the same, the process is the same, and even more or less the code will be the same. So what this plugin does is that you send a request to this plugin with your username and password, and then it returns a token. So then when you send a post request, you have to send a bearer token as well. That will be the authentication for your data, which will mean that your data is authenticated. So if you want see this little confusing, just unmute and ask the question, and I will explain it. If not, I will go. Okay, so let me try it. So when it posts request, it's just add a new data. So let's like if I want to go with another batsman, like let's say no, he's a great sportsman. Just to that and get it, and it has been added. And if you go to your WordPress and see, so it has been added here as well. So that's it was like doing the basic stuff. That was the built-in stuff. So let's play with the API a bit. So if I want to extend the API, so if I want to like add my own endpoints or my own routes to the API, what should I do? So give me so this is the function file, this is the theme function file. So either you can do your code with a new plugin, or you can just use the your theme function file. Okay. So first of all, as I have told you that there's a hook for the API, which is rest underscore API underscore init. So let's add that hook. And the WordPress people are familiar with the hooks of WordPress. So let's add that hook. It is rest underscore API underscore init. So that's the hook, and let's hook a function to it, which will be our own function. So like, let's suppose we are doing some like code movement register underscore routes route or route. So now we need this function. Can you guys see my code as well, or should I just increase the font size? If it's okay, then we'll continue. Okay.
Yeah, I think let's continue. It's good.
Okay, good.
If you can just
So
zoom a bit more, that will be more convenient.
I can zoom is a full screen, so if anybody has don't know how to increase the font size, but if it's okay, if not, I can find a way to increase the font size.
Can you try control scroll
Okay,
if that works?
well, that will not work. Let's see if there's anything here in the tutorial.
Just use scroll up and down, so we can zoom it, zoom in, zoom out the shared screen, so it's easier. So no really problem is that.
Okay. Sorry, I cannot increase the font size, so that's where I tried. Okay, so let's
Anyways,
go to
let's
this.
continue. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so here in this function, we will register our route. So if there's a function for that, that is register rest route. And in this route, the first thing will be our namespace. So for example, my namespace here is like code moment. Sorry, wrong place. Dash code moment, and then it is version 2 of the API, so we will use v2. Okay, and then I will add my like the endpoint, you can say, or the or you can say the route, the end route, which will be, let's suppose, make it simple, let's suppose it's just a greeting. Okay, and then the second parameter it will tag is an array. And in this array, we will call two things. First, that we will be having a method. Give me a minute, HR is calling me, so
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, that was an HR call, so we have to turn that. Okay, so in this, in the array, in the method part, we will pass like WP underscore uh, rest underscore server, and here I will make this one just readable. Okay, the second, I will come back to it. The second should be callback function. So the callback should be, what should it be? It should be like code movement point or whatever. You will need that function lightly. So that's it. So if I can go to this class, the WP Rest server, let's see what's in this. So let me spell as well. You can find that in the WordPress file as well, but just want to show that the readable is actually a property of this class. So if you can go to this class, this is the class and it has a lot of properties. So you can like, the readable is for get method, and then you can have the creatable, which is post. You can have editable, which is post, put, or page. Deletable, which is delete. So these are the methods. These are the methods for or properties for this class. That's why I use the readable word here. Okay. So now we need our callback function. So let's see, we can create that function. And in the function, we will we'll call whatever we need. So let's like we'll have to return something. So the function name is greetings, or let's return some greetings. So we can use a function for it, which is rest ensure response. And I will say you can do it without this function as well. But this function is necessary if there's an error or if you want to pass some headers, then we need this function. Otherwise, we can just return the string as well. So the greeting, I will say, they are just something very simple. So what we have done is that we actually, okay, it's from here. So we hook one of our function to the REST API in it, which is a hook available for the REST API. So what we are doing, we are adding our function to it. Inside our function, we have create a route, which is codemovement.pk and /greeting. And that and for this route, we have two things. The method is readable, and now the callback function. So the callback function, in the callback function, we are just returning some string. So let's try our own route. So this is code movement v2/v2/greeting. So if I can go to Postman, or I can browse it in the. Okay, so let's. So WP JSON, WP JSON, and now I don't need the WP1 or /v1 or v2 port. I will so as my own route here. and it was slash greeting. Let's see. Okay, so it shares that undefined function. Let's see if we have register route. Let's see what does it say. It says that how to undefined function is in this route. Okay, we got it. So it is register routes and register route. Okay, that's here is the font. The issue. Spelling was not correct. Okay, so here it is, our O response. It says just the greeting. So if you can see that we are using the whole lot of thing like the code movements, code dash movements, v2 greeting, we can just have done it like the just by adding the greeting part of WP JSON. So the thing is that this is our namespace. The code movement, code dash movement slash v2 is our namespace. It could be our plugin namespace or whatever. And we can use multiple routes to it. Like this is the one route that we have used. So if we want to, with the same namespace, we want to pass another route to it. So that should be like, let's add another route to it. And this is like for the code movement address, and we'll add it to the function should be address. Let's rename that. So let's make it sector online to Islamabad. So it's the same namespace with a different route. Let's try it. And you see with the same namespace and a different route, we are now in the different function. So we can extend our API, and the thing is that we can disable particular routes from API. We can remove routes from API. We can disable the API, but now in the new version of WordPress, if you disable your API, many of your admin function will not work. Many of your plugin will not work, especially the page builders. You know that the theme building now is more of a page builder thing. So if you're using like Elementor or Visual Editor or DB Editor, that will not work if your API is not enabled. So you have to enable the API. You have to keep it enabled for it to work. It is not a security risk like the API. Previously, we were used the XML RPC, and that produced a lot of problem, a lot of security issues because that was too easily to access. And now this API is pretty secure. So I had some more advanced stuff for the API as well. Like if you want to use API in your theme or your plugin, but I think that will take a little more time. So if in the current stuff, if you have any question, you can just ask me here. And if you want to access me after the session, I will be very happy to answer you. And if you want to want some advanced topic or discussion in this API, I am always available. I have worked a lot more in this API. So for now, that was my stuff. I had prepared some more stuff for plugin, etc., but that would take more than 18 minutes that we currently have. So in the current thing, if you want to discuss, add something or ask something, I'll be very happy.
Okay, Bahadur here. The function is rest ensure response also support will also support JSON and response status as well. Is that right?
Yes, it will support like the header, like the status, like it will handle the errors as well. That's why if you don't use the rest ensure response for this particular string, it will still work. But if you want to like pass some advanced stuff like the headers or like the WP error object, then this function is very good to use.
Okay, so function is same. Is there different function for the responses, or is the same? Which
Like
is
if you want
rest
that,
ensure response. Is there any other function, a special function or advanced response thing? Is there any other?
well, you can create your own function as well to call here.
Okay.
This is the function. Like it's not
Okay.
mandatory function. We can just like call the this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it will still work. I mean, it will not make any difference with it. But
Yeah,
if
that
like
will that
that,
will only return simple string, right? Just
yes,
no
yes,
plus
just
no.
it's the string. But if you want like the rest ensure response, then it will return the headers. It will
Yeah.
return some complex responses like the error object. Like if you want to pass any other object, you can pass it to the with this function. It will handle it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Mubin here.
Okay.
So I have a question. Can we use WP Ajax instead of REST API?
WP Ajax you are calling?
WP Ajax, yes, replacement of WP Ajax. Can I use WP REST API because it looks faster as compared to the admin Ajax? Because most of the time getting the server response time error while using the WP Ajax.
Yeah, we can use like the and if you see like the WP that you can use, but um, that API in some function itself call a WP Ajax function, and in some of its core function it calls the WP Ajax function. That is, but mostly we ask that admin Ajax function for the admin kind of data or any Ajax function. If you want to like call Ajax on the front end, you still have to call the admin Ajax function. But that function sometimes gets slower, and sometimes that function has issues with the security plugins like WordFence or WP security plugin, the ITM security plugin. Sometimes it blocks that function, particularly if you have DB theme installed. So if you use like the API, that is the faster way as well as the simpler way too. Because it requires less hard work than the AdOpenAjax function.
Thanks.
And it's very simple. Like if you want to use the it internally in your plugin or theme, you don't have to like add the URL part. You just have to add the routes. Like if I can just make that's the code. If I can find it very quickly. Okay, here I found it. So here, if you see, if this is an internal function, this is inside request. I had written it for this lecture, but it is the way you can call it here. Like just pass a get parameter in the WP request object, and the second you just have to pass the route here. So this is a particular pause, and if this what this will create all the pause. So it's like calling the API is sometimes faster than or easier than even making the WP query. That's why the modern editor or the modern plugin use API instead of WP queries, because queries will take a lot of time, and also it takes a lot of space as well in your code editor. So and the API will take a lot lesser code in there. You know what that code
Okay,
this
thanks.
code does? It actually calls that WP query. Like if I don't use this, I will have to call the WP query, then I will have to write the query, and if I add any other parameters, I will have to pass, and then I will run a loop to that query and get all the posts. Instead, I can just use the API inside, and that API will give me a get data, which has almost everything that is post related.
We have another question from Noman. If you can see the chat window.
Sure. Let me see. Yes. So for Noman is asking if we have like a non-admin user and we authenticate with that user. So what will you do? So normally the API is to authenticate with your super admin, but you can authenticate it with the lesser user as well, and that user will only have the access to that particular post. I have worked on it, but I am not currently 100% sure. So I will check and I will respond back to you, Numan. Thank you for the question. It's a very productive question.
Anybody have any other question? We have a few minutes left.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Asad. Adil here. Thank you so much to you and to the code movement providing such platforms for the people. I can see all these things, but I just want to ask the question, like we can see all the endpoints when we access the website with the WP-JSON. I can see all the users
Yes.
of any website. How we can restrict these things, because I don't want other people to see my users within my database.
Yeah, you
There is
can
any
actually, yes, there are plugins available, and there are then functions. You can just restrict particular endpoints. You can restrict particular endpoints. You can um, restrict all the endpoints, but make sure that there are some function on the internet which will remove the endpoint with remove filter. So once if you remove the endpoints, that endpoint is physically removed from your system. So in the future, it will not be available for you. So you can restrict it with your function. That's possible. You can also restrict the whole API.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, thank you.
And it's not the function, it's the endpoint. Like you can restrict the endpoint user where with the namespace. So that will restrict that user. I can share the function to you after the session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. So if anybody else has any question or difficulty or interest in the API, you can contact me. I can provide you more detailed explanation or more detailed things regarding to this API. And if there was something that I missed, you can also contact me. That will be very productive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asad. Thank you so much for the fruitful and productive session on WordPress APIs. And thank you so much, guys, for joining and for asking the questions. And we'll see you in the next one. Until that, have a good rest of the days. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.